Hello, my name is Rich Howard, and I'm the owner of Architectural Builder Supply. And this video is going to be talking about and going through the steps of basically building a work area, a desk we're going to build, and we're going to add some other creature comforts to a environment in which I spend time working in. So let's move forward and let me show you what I have in mind. I've taken to taking notes at my desk side when something comes up. Um, a neighbor of mine, for all intents purposes, was in charge of, for JP Morgan Chase in the 80s and 90s, private wealth management for all of Central and South America. Uh, it sounds like an exaggeration. It really isn't. She is a incredibly lovely lady. She's for sure in her 70s, and when she speaks, I listen. And she was telling me how scientifically solid the data is behind the physical writing down of things and your ability to be transactional and scratch those items off that you're done, which I think I've subconsciously known as true for a long time. But there was reinforcement when it was coming from someone who had billions of dollars of wealth management under her personal belt. And her stories are actually quite fascinating about the moving of international monies. She met with Jamie Dimon on a weekly basis. He's the chairman of JP Morgan. So that's what I've taken to writing things down. And it's awfully handy to be able to take some dimensions in a notebook. And here they are. So here's what we're dealing with. It's going to be 59 and 7/8 wide. So my single sheet, my piece is going to be like this, obviously. And then I'll cut this little notch into it here. And then at the very end, I'm just going to run a toolpath down and I'm just going to separate those two pieces. So it should work out pretty well. The only thing I've got to tweak, of course, is the 26-inch dimension here because I'm going to lose the curve of that bit that's going to come through. I'll probably need to use a 1/4-inch bit or maybe even 3/8 because I've got to get 1 3/8. I've got to get about 1 3/8 through the piece. And I imagine that this item is absolutely not 1 1/4 all the way. I don't know what the actual thickness is. We'll probably paint with a broad brush on how far to go through the workpiece. But yeah, I don't see any concern about this. And then I'll drive over to the other shop and we'll get the hardware and maybe we'll do some assembly today as well. I hope to be able to do that. So with no further ado, let's switch to the screen view and we'll make a drawing and I'll go through the setup routine of the machine. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Okay, we've got VCarve loaded here. Let's create a new file, and it'll be a single-sided workpiece. The width is going to be, we'll leave it at 96 by 48, because I'm going to define a position here. Material surfaces, what we'll zero to. The datum we'll leave in the lower left corner. The thickness, 1.25. It doesn't really matter so much what that is. I guess it does, but I mean, if I made it 1 3/8, it's just going to give me a warning in terms of what I'm cutting through, but I'm not really going to be able to measure it extremely accurately without repositioning because what I realized was what I should have done before I put this piece onto the bench is onto the CNC. I should have taken a laminate trimmer and trimmed off the excess plywood is what I should have done. I would do that next time. So let's just click OK. About 12 1/8. And then I'm about 9 1/4. So that should be where I'm going to be. Now my drawing says that I want to be 59 and 7/8 wide. So let's relative 59.875. Yep, 59.875. Create new. Then I want to be, remember we have the kerf that we're going to deal with there. And what I need to do is determine how thick of the bit I'm going to use to cut the two pieces from each other. So let me pause this. Okay, I've got a down spiral 1/4 inch 2 flute bit. That's what I'm going to use. I want to use a down spiral because I want a clean cut on the top. I've got a 3/8 compression, which would be nice. It'll be fine. I'll use the 3/8 compression and I'll make my first pass. Well, you know what I could do? I could start the vector here and then come in and drop down below the upcut nature of the tip of the compression bit. I want a clean top. I don't want splinters at all because it's going to be a desk. So that's what I'll do. I'll start the vector over here and I will plunge in. Perhaps I'll start it here, that kind of thing. Okay, that's what I'll do. I'll use the 3/8 compression because I would like both ends to be clean. All right, so we know that from here it's 3/8. So I had 26" for the overall of that, but what that really meant was let's go up 26 and 3/8 relative because I wanted it to be an overall depth of 26 plus my kerf. Now we're going to come relative negative 10 and 7/8. Good. Negative 0.375. Nope, wrong guide. I'm just doing a reality check and not liking the dimensions. Yeah, okay, that's what the problem is. I put 10 and 7/8. That needs to be 10 and 1/8. Relative negative. I realize you can't see the drawing, but it's okay. And then 10 and a half would work. Beautiful. Close. Now, what we should have is 10 and an eighth on the backside, the fixed piece, which it is. We should have 10 and a half, which is 10 and a half minus 3/8 is 10 and an eighth. Then what we should have, this should be about 15 and 7/8. Yeah, it is. Okay, great. Now we wanted to come over 12" and we wanted to come in 12". We wanted to come in 9 and 7/8, 9.875. And then let's do relative 5. Let's do relative. I'll show you what I'm doing in a moment. Negative, close, negative. I want a radius here is what I want. Let's put in some other lines for reference so you can start to see this. Actually, we can get rid of that confusing guideline, that confusing guideline, that confusing guideline. All right, let's draw this to take a look at it. We don't want a rectangle, we want a polyline. Then I'm going to need relative guide. That's going to be it's 3/16, but 0.375 times 0.5 equal create, close. Then I'll need a vector right along there. We're going to want to actually exit off of that. Move it over a 1/4 inch. Yeah. I want to make sure that the bit actually exit the workpiece. Yeah, we're good. Oops. So if we turn off the guidelines, kind of see what we're doing here. So let's trim. That's it. So we're going to cut the profile, and assuming that we've got it positioned where it's going to work, I'll come in and make a cut here, and we'll start here. That's what we're going to do. That's going to be the desk. Let's do this, just because we're having fun. I've been teaching myself the modern Greek language, and the word for desk in Greek is thranio. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy that. There we go. I don't see any reason to get more exotic. Thranio. Thranio.
If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it.
Make start point. Yeah, if you noticed, well, you may not have. That was the start point here. I don't want the machine to start there. I want it to start here. So here's what I did. Selected the vector. Well, actually, what I need to do, I need to make that all one vector. Join. There we go. Whew. Okay, so I highlighted the vector. And for node, okay, that's now the start point. Green is the start point. So that's what we want. It was over here because all this was a separate vector. Great. So we're going to have three vectors. The profile. What I want to do is I want to increase this to 64, centered around that. Yeah, that's better. That'll be the second vector, and then we'll do some engraving with Franio here. Picked up this habit from a family member of dating things, so stayed it. Good enough. Not concerned. Okay, let's draw a toolpath. So let's select this one first. And that's going to be a profile. We are going to cut in, we're just going to start with 1.28, 30 thousandths heavier. Select. Now, that's going to be that 3/8 compression. And I don't remember what that's called, but it's in here for sure. It could be this one. It's in position 4. Yeah, this is the tool. It's a 6123 MW. And I'm cutting wood like I've always cut. This is not set for aluminum, so I'm just going to leave my feeds and speeds here. And we will select. I like it. We are going to be on the outside. Edit passes. So pass 1, that needs to be deeper than the compression bit itself. So let's switch to the screen view and take a closer look at that. All right, here's our tool holder and our 6123 MW Onsrud 3/8 compression bit. Now, my point is I want to make my first pass deeper than the end of that up spiral component of this compression bit. And the compression bits are nice because you'll get a clean cut on the top and the bottom. And someday in the not too distant future, I'm going to be making a video on what the surface looks like cutting, let's just say plywood, because that's really splintery, with an upcut, a downcut, and then a straight sort of bit, like you'd have on a hinge routing bit. So giving you an idea, I mean, we need to be every bit of a 1/4 inch, if not 5/16. I'm going to put it down and measure it here myself. No, we need to be deeper than that. Do we? Yeah, that first pass needs to be at 5/16. That's fine. So I'm going to put this back. We'll switch back to the screen view. So our first pass is going to be 5/16, and we can set that in the software. Let's do that. Okay, so first pass is going to be 0.3125, and then 4 passes. Yeah, so 4 equal passes. Set passes. Okay. Now I want to do our engraving. Oh, shoot, we're not done. We set our passes. I'm gonna conventional cut that. And our review of up spiral, down spiral, and straight flute bits we'll test that with conventional and climb cutting. Outside, we don't need tabs. We're definitely gonna make a ramp. 4 inch will be plenty. Just call it profile. I've realized that I haven't. Yeah, exactly. File, save, performance, desk, V1. Nice. Oh, my start position, I don't care for that. Home position, 1624.8. Yep, changed on me. I didn't save it, that's the problem. 0.32. Let's look at all this again. Outside, conventional. We're going to ramp 4-inch, that's fine. Yeah, I realize I could have done that modification here. Starting here, moving here, starting here. Yeah, because all that'll be obliterated. No, I'm not liking this. Well, we're going to preview that and see what it looks like. It's probably going to leave a small artifact there is probably what's going to happen. All right, let's leave that toolpath. Let's unselect it. Let's select what we're going to do on this engraving. Uh, just V-carve engraving tool. I'm going to want to use that down spiral on this. And that was a 1/4-inch down spiral. And that is in tool position 3. That's the issue. It's giving me engraving bits. Let's just do a pocket on this. And I actually think this is the right tool here. Select, is it tool position 2? It's 1/8 of an inch. Yeah, 1/8 of an inch would actually be better because of the tono, the accent mark above the iota. That's called a tono in Greek. We're going to make that 1/8 of an inch. It'll take longer, but it'll be fine. So let's go in. 50 thousandths is fine for now. Select. Yeah, that's an Onsrud 57 250. That is an 1/8 of an inch. Tool number 2, we're going to use that one. One pass will be fine. I'll call it engraving, even though I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Now, there's our last vector. So that will be a profile. We've got the right bit. Edit passes. 0.32. 4. Set. Okay. On the line this time. They're going to ramp. I don't know if I've got 4-inch there. It's probably going to, we'll zigzag that one in. Hope that plywood doesn't chatter severely. This is going to be separating. Calculate. Right. It'll start from the home position and come in. We told it to conventional cut. I'll have to change the direction on the vector. I believe that how it slows down there is when you're estimating the time. It's movements like this, I think that it may not calculate very correctly. Yeah, that should be fine. Doing another pass. Let's just speed this up to get through it. All right. All right, now we're going to do our Greek letters. Speed this up. That's your theta. That's a good theta. That's a rho. Looks like the English P, but it's actually their R sound. I'm just a gringo. I'm not a Greek expert. I know more than the next the next gringo I stand next to, but yeah, the tono's good. That eighth of an inch bit is good. Franio. We're going to come over here next. And we'll put the date. That is the date today. Awesome. Now our liberating pass. Awesome. I should be able to click on the outer piece. That's gone. Yeah. What do you think? Bueno? Kala? Greek? Good? Polikala. Very good. All right, so we're using 2 bits, and I think what we'll do is we will close. Let's estimate. It says it's going to be 13 and a half minutes, 14 minutes to do this. We'll time it if I don't forget. Scale factor 1.2, I think that's way off. I think it actually needs to be let's go 0.9 on a scale factor. Close. We need bit 4, bit 2, bit 4. Yeah, that's correct. Save toolpaths. Performance desk V1 is good. Save. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to go through the machine tool start process.
Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.